There's been an awakening. I've felt it. And no, it's not the new Lizzie McGuire reboot.
Now Lizzie is turning 30.
Yes, we finally have a Mandalorian trailer, and this one literally split my insides in half.
Oh, that's gonna hurt!
In a good way. So let's not waste our time and take a deep dive into this trailer and everything we know so far. Now, we do know that The Mandalorian is set 5 years after the Return of the Jedi, after the fall of the Empire, but before the rise of the First Order. These bloody and dirty stormtrooper helmets here shouldn't be of any surprise, since the Empire is no more, and with a complete power vacuum this world is set in will be one of lawlessness and turmoil as various groups vie for power. We get a quick shot of the Mandalorian here, and we know it's him because of these silver charges on his left foot, which we've seen unveiled today at D23. More ominous heads on spikes, but you can quickly catch the backside of the Mandalorian's helmet. But here's what's interesting, the yellow tinge on the back right side. If you see the Mandalorian's real helmet, and also the backside in other shots, there's no yellow marking, so it's possible he's had to put this on to signify some sort of allegiance. And when you're entering a place with heads on spikes, that might be a good thing. Now, we could take a guess as to which planet this is, but creator Jon Favreau has said that this series will feature many new planets and races. But just because they're new, they will still have that Star Wars feel. So keep that in mind as we continue on with this trailer. And here we have a first glimpse of the Mandalorian spaceship called the Razor Crest, which was unveiled at the 2019 Star Wars Celebration in Chicago. As far as I know, this is not CG. This is an actual model superimposed among the background of a still unknown planet. Here's a better shot of the Razor Crest with the Mandalorian just being dwarfed by the giant rectangular rune, and we have these domed Tatooine-esque structures in the back. The ship on the right is most likely another bounty hunter ship. As we'll see in the next few shots, the Mandalorian meets Greef Karga, played by Carl Weathers, who is the leader of a bounty hunter guild who hires the Mandalorian to track a valuable asset. And in that next shot, we seem to see the Mandalorian returning that valuable asset alongside a pile of credits and this unknown object. The way it's edited makes me feel like the Mandalorian has a choice of reward, either being the credits or this object, and him taking this object is something personal to him. Just take a look at Greef's face as he makes his decision. More beautiful shots of the Razor Crest navigating a barren, cracked planet when we get a bunch of quick shots of the Mandalorian's armor. Here we have him putting a knife back into his right leg armor piece, him adjusting his wrist plates, note more charges attached to his chest as he prepares to disembark a more forested planet. In the concept art shown at Star Wars Celebration, there's a forested planet that shows an entirely new race here that the Mandalorian will likely interact with. Here's our first shot of Cara Dune. We don't know much about her other than she's an ex-Rebel shock trooper and will feature as one of the main characters in the story. And here we have the Mandalorian yet again. Notice this time no yellow marking on the back of his helmet like we had in the first few shots. This short dude over here is still to be named, but we've seen him and these new creatures as part of the Star Wars Celebration concept art. Notice the dead creature on the left, which may or may not have been a result of the Mandalorian, hence this rider with his gun out. Now, I love this shot here. It just feels so Star Wars. Here we have a female Twi'lek character brandishing a knife, but look behind her. That looks a lot like Bill Burr, who has been cast in the show as an outlaw, and considering the company he's in, this is likely some sort of outlaw hangar. Gorgeous shot here of the Mandalorian amongst the sunset, simultaneously conjuring images of A New Hope while showing the solitary life of a bounty hunter. It's also worth mentioning here that the cinematography is done by Greg Fraser, who also did the cinematography for Rogue One, and this next image here screams the first 10 minutes of that film. Now, we don't know who these two are, but they are obviously hiding from someone, and this woman is trying to protect the child. If I were to take a random guess, this is a flashback of the Mandalorian as a child with his mother. With an entire season to fill, the show will undoubtedly go into how the Mandalorian became a bounty hunter, a man with no family, eking out a dangerous life on the edge of the galaxy. This next shot here looks as though they're shooting at the woman and child, but it's an editing fake out. The background really doesn't match. This is likely an altercation in one of the trade towns, and these troopers here are under the control of Giancarlo Esposito's character. We don't have a name for his character yet, but in an interview with Slash Film, he said the following: "In a way, you might call him an underworld character. You may also look at him as a savior, as someone who might bring back some order to the world after it's all collapsed." So it's not known whether he's some sort of imperial commander trying to keep his soldiers together, or the leader of a world which is now impoverished after the defeat of the Empire. And here is our first full-on face shot of the Mandalorian. Of particular note here is the butt end of his rifle, which was shared on Instagram by Jon Favreau in October of last year. November 12th, the release date on Disney+, Disney's new online platform similar to Netflix. And that date can't come fast enough. Here we have two characters and what appears to be a flare looking for rescue and someone coming to help riding an Imperial speeder. With the defeat of the Empire, it's likely we'll see many Imperial weapons, machines, and ships fall into the hands of some interesting characters. And here we have a good old-fashioned AT-ST likely mowing down targets on the same planet we saw in the last shot. We have a bunch of innocent civilians fleeing attack and a close-up shot of this boy and his father heading to safety. I'm going to go out on a limb here, and this again could be Kid Mandalorian. I also forgot to mention that adult Mandalorian is played by Game of Thrones favorite Pedro Pascal, and I can't help but see a little resemblance there. And here's our first shot of IG-11 and the Mandalorian having kicked their way into a yet-to-be-disclosed building. IG-11 shouldn't be confused with IG-88, who was first seen in The Empire Strikes Back. 11 will be voiced by Taika Waititi, who directed Thor Ragnarok. And here is where we get into a bunch of action shots near the end of the trailer to get everyone pumped. Here's the Razor Crest taking a hit from a pursuing ship, the Mandalorian blasting the shit out of attacking men on rooftops, leading me to believe this was some sort of ambush, and IG-11 absolutely blasting the shit out of their attackers. There's also a standoff between the Mandalorian and a few stormtroopers, followed by the voice of Werner Herzog. Fun fact, Werner has never seen any of the Star Wars movies. Now, I've seen the leaked footage of the scene, and he definitely is a villain who controls these stormtroopers and gives the Mandalorian his main quest for the season. There's also a crazy theory out there that he is actually an old version of Boba Fett who survived the Sarlacc pit. He has also said that his role is very small, which likely means he'll get offed early on. We also have some ruffians being taken care of in a bar, including this dude who gets sliced in half. But notice also that we're on some sort of snow planet here. In this brief trailer, we've already seen multiple planets, varying ecosystems, so it's likely we'll be following the Mandalorian all over the galaxy. And carbonite. Who can forget that substance Han Solo was frozen in for years? We have this dude, an alien who we can only assume is one of the Mandalorian's bounties he's bringing back, since we can see him in the back left corner of the screen. So it's possible if the Mandalorian is tasked with bringing someone back alive, he could have them frozen as proof of capture. I don't know about you guys, but I am totally stoked for this, more so than any other Star Wars project in the last 20 years. If you want me to keep covering Star Wars, give the video a like, leave a comment, and make sure to subscribe. You can also follow me on Twitter @ThinkStoryYT. And until next time, remember, Daddy loves you very much.